Our dear candidates, welcome yet for another short studies lesson conducted by Mr. Otim Robert. We are going to continue looking at the methods that the Pan-Africanists used in their struggle for Pan-Africanism. But before we go there, let us look at the new words that we are going to meet in our lesson today. One of the new words we are going to look at today, you'll be writing them. We are going to look at media, trade union, conference, ACRA. I repeat, media, trade union, conference, ACRA. So those are some of the new words we are going to meet, and we are going to look at the meaning of those words. One of the words we are going to begin with is media. Media can also be called channel. A channel. A channel or media is the means or ways of transmitting the messages from the sender to the receiver. Transmitting messages from the sender to the receiver. So that's what we call as media. So there are different ways how we can send messages from me to you. I'm using a media. And then you can get medias in various ways. We can use newspapers, we can use radios, we can use magazines, and so many others. 2, trade union. A trade union is an organization whose members belong to the same trade, and that acts collectively to address common issues. So you find that this is an organization where we have members, they belong to the same trade. And when they belong to the same trade, they act together or collectively, and they are addressing common issues. Some of the issues can arise, and some of the issues can be political, can be social, and can be what? Economic. And they will come together to address them. So when they come, they form what we call as the trade union. Then another word is conference. Conference is the act of consulting together formally. Is the act of consulting together formally. So when I talk about consulting, you discuss. You come together and you discuss. In an organized manner, in a formal way, you discuss issues, maybe the issues that are affecting you. So you'll be discussing them. ACRA, as you are aware, in the beginning of this term, you find that we looked at regions in Africa, you find that we looked at the countries in Africa, and we looked at the capital city. So ACRA, in simple terms, is a capital city of Ghana. So we are going to begin with our lesson now. And our lesson is methods used by the Pan-Africanists in their struggle for Pan-Africanism. So we are going to look at the methods that the Pan-Africanists used when they are struggling or fighting for Pan-Africanism. One of the methods we are going to begin with is through media. Is one of the methods that they use. They use through media, or the media is one of the methods that they use. The Pan-Africanists used newspapers. They used newspapers, radios, magazines, televisions to spread their messages. They use all those different medias to spread their messages. For example, we looked at the Pan-Africans using the newspapers like the ACRA Evening. We are looking at the Western Pilot, where some of the newspapers these Pan-Africans used to spread the idea of Pan-Africanism, or the ideas about Pan-Africanism. Then we have another method that they use is conferences. Conferences, we said, as there were meetings. The meetings were held in different places, And these meetings were aimed at spreading about Pan-African ideas, or ideas about what? Pan-Africanism. And these conferences or meetings were also aimed at uniting blacks and collecting people's views about Pan-Africanism. Remember, in the beginning, we looked at how some of these Pan-Africanists outside Africa and within Africa. We talked about Sylvester Williams, William Du Bois, we talked about Marcus Garvey. You find that these were educated blacks. For them, they got education and find that they had to rally, they had to look forward spreading the ideas to the outside world, and find that some of them decided to look at that as a way how they can enlighten, or a way how they can teach other nationalists, more so those ones within Africa, about what? About Pan-Africanism. So let us look at briefly the list of the conferences that were organized to promote Pan-Africanism. One of the conferences that was organized was, we have the 1900 London Conference. Why we call them London Conference 1900? We look at a place, as I told you in the beginning, that these conferences were held in different places. And find that a place where the conference was held, you find that it was able to get its name from that place or from the town where the conference was what? Held. That's why you find that we have the 1900 London Conference. Then we have also the 1919 Paris Conference. We have the 1921 London Conference. We have the 1923 Pan-African Congress. Then we have also another conference which was the 1945 Manchester Conference. And then lastly, that's the last conference that was organized, and the first of its kind in Africa was called the 1958 Accra Conference. So we are going to look at these conferences in brief or in detail, briefly, but we are not going to look at exhausting each and everything, but we are beginning to look at some of the most important things that candidates need to know about these conferences. We are beginning with the London Conference. The London Conference was presided over by Bishop Alexander Walters. It was presided over by Bishop Alexander Walters, with the sponsorship of Henry Sylvester Williams. So when I talk about presiding, I mean that this conference was chaired. The chairperson of that conference was Bishop Alexander Walters. And for that, Bishop Alexander Walters was the chairperson of that conference, and the sponsor. When I talk about the sponsor, a person who put funds in order to make sure that the conference runs. So that is Henry Sylvester Williams is the one who put or who sponsored that conference. What were the aims of the 1900 London Conference? If somebody asks you such a question. One of the aims of the 1900 London Conference was to unite blacks, or to unite black Africans. So the aim was to bring together people who are black, or let me say the black Africans. There are those ones who are living in Africa, those ones who are spread to all over the world, like in the Caribbean, those ones in the Americas, those ones in Asia, and so many other places. So you find that they needed to come together to unite, or to come together as Africans. So that was one of the aims of the 1900 London Conference. The second point to that is to encourage the education of Africans. The conference also aimed at making sure that the people who will attend it will go and spread and encourage some of the Africans to get education, to encourage the education of Africans. Another one is to encourage industrial development among African countries. As you are aware, during colonial times, Africa used to produce raw materials, and most of the raw materials were taken to Europe. And it is from Europe where they can process, and then they bring us finished goods. But some of these Africans, through these conferences, you find that for them, they say, no, let us have the aim as our aim in the 1900 London conference. Our aim is, let us go back and rally and make sure that Africa develops her own industries. So that was another one. So with that, those were some of the few aims of the 1900 London conference. Then we are going to look at briefly on the 1945 Manchester conference. This conference was held in Manchester City. As you are aware of, Manchester City is one of the cities in England. So it was held in Manchester City of England in October 1945 with the sponsorship of Dr. William Du Bois. With the sponsorship of Dr. William Du Bois. As you are aware, sponsor. So this is a person who was rich, who had the money, who put everything to make sure that the conference takes place. So what were some of the objectives of the 1945 Manchester conference? One of the objectives is to speed up the independence struggle. When I talk about independence struggle, where? The independence struggle where? In Africa. Because Africans, particularly, you find that African had lost what? African countries had lost their independence to the Europeans or to the colonialists. So you find that there was a need to speed up the independence struggle where? In Africa. Another one is to unite Africans. It was also aimed at uniting what? Africans, as I explained before. Another one is to plan for the ways of fighting for freedom. So when I talk about freedom, you find that you need to have your own right to do what you feel like it is right for you. So you find that Africans were denied their own freedom during colonial times. You find that they were mistreated, they were denied freedom of movement, freedom of association, and so many others. So you find that there was need for them to fight for their own freedom. So this conference had to plan for the ways how Africans can fight for their freedom. So that is briefly on that. Let us look at some of the people, or we call them personalities, from Africa who attended the 1945 Manchester Conference in England. So personalities, we can call them Pan-Africanists because they attended that Pan-African conference. They were in the park. So you find that we are going to look at who were these people, who were these personalities. One of the personalities which is more famous, we are going to learn him afterwards, is Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, or we can call him Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. So he was one of the personalities or persons that attended that conference of 1945. Another person was Jomo Kenyatta, our neighbor from the east, that is from Kenya. So Jomo Kenyatta. Then we have Kamuzu Banda of Malawi. We have Nnamdi Azikiwe of Nigeria. So those were some of the personalities that attended the Manchester Conference of 1945. What were the results? We are going to look at what were the results of the 1945 Pan-African Conference in Manchester, in England. What were the results? When I talk about results, I'm looking at the effects. What happened when these people came and they decided to have that formal meeting, that conference? What happened next? We call it a result. So one of the results, or one of the effects that took place after that conference was the Africans were encouraged to form political parties. Africans were encouraged to form political parties, trade unions, cooperative societies, to demand for independence. So that was their resolution in their conference. The Africans should be encouraged. They should go back. Let them form political parties. Let them form trade unions so that they can demand for their own independence in their respective African countries, in their respective states. Another resolution or result is, many blacks agreed to return to Africa. Many blacks agreed to return to Africa. For example, Kwame Nkrumah, who returned from Britain, was able to come back to Africa. He was abroad, he was having his education in Britain, but he accepted, let me go back to my continent. And he returned to Ghana. It also encouraged the use of force. That conference, the resolution or the result, it also encouraged the use of force to demand for independence. The conference supported the Africans or the nationalists to go and demand for their independence, also by using the forceful means. If they refuse peace, if you have formed political parties and they have denied, let us try force. And force, you find that the force can be forming rebellions or resistances. So they were able to come back and they demanded for their independence. Like if I'm to give you an example of our neighbor, that is Kenya. You find that they had Mau Mau rebellion. So you find that that rebellion had one of the objectives as to demand for the independence of Kenya. So you find that that was force that they used in attainment of independence of Kenya. So another one is Pan-Africans agreed to create a base for Pan-Africanism in Africa. The Pan-Africans agreed to create a base. To create a base for Pan-Africanism, meaning that those ones who attended the Pan-African Conference in Manchester, you find that they came back to Africa. When they came to Africa, they were acting as the starting point for spreading Pan-Africanism within the African continent. And lastly, we are going to look at the 1958 Accra Conference. The 1958 Accra Conference. It was the first Pan-African conference in Africa. It was the first Pan-African conference in Africa. It was called and chaired by Kwame Nkrumah after the independence of Ghana in 1958. After the independence of Ghana in 1958. Then Kwame Nkrumah decided to call for the Accra Conference of 1958. He invited the leaders of the independent African states. So who were the people who attended? The countries in Africa that had attained independence. They are the ones that went and attended the Accra Conference of 1958. And these leaders were as follows. One, we had the leader, the owner, the chairperson, and that is Kwame Nkrumah, who chaired that conference in his home country. That is Kwame Nkrumah. We have Abdel Nasser from Egypt. We have Ibrahim Aboud from Sudan. We had King Hassan II from Morocco. We have Muhammad Idris from Libya. We have Haile Selassie from Ethiopia. And we have William Tolbert from Liberia. So those were the personalities or some of the African leaders that attended the Accra Conference of 1958 that was held in Accra, Ghana. So you must be aware of such personalities. So as we continue, you find that the objectives of that conference, we are going to look at it briefly, then we shall meet in the next lesson to look at why did it delay. The objectives are as follows. One, to unite African nationalists. There are those people who are developed, there are some personalities, there are some nationalists that had the love for their countries. To unite, they were to bring, that conference was to bring all of them to make sure that they are united and they are fighting for the independence of the whole of Africa. Two, to suggest the ways of demanding for the independence. So they also had to come with different ways how they can demand for independence, how they can struggle for independence in their respective countries. So those were the things like forming political parties, like others, like I talked of boycotts, like telling their people to rebel against the colonialists, and so many others. In the course, after doing all such disturbances, you find that maybe the colonialists can give them their independence. Another factor, another objective here is to revive Pan-Africanism. To revive, meaning that to restart it. Before, it was done outside Africa. The conferences were held outside Africa. But now there was a need for them to make sure that this conference of Pan-Africanism is restarted here in Africa. And then lastly, to plan for the development of Africa, as mentioned before. So there was a need for them to plan for the development of what? Of Africa. With that, we look at the results of the 1958 Accra Conference. What were the results? I'm just going to rush because our time is up. One of the results is Kwame Nkrumah promised to support African countries in their struggle for independence. It provided a platform for the leaders to meet. This conference provided a platform for the leaders to meet. So the leaders were able to come together. Lastly, African nationalists agreed to use armed struggle to get independence. So with that, I thank you for listening to me. We meet again next time. Thank you.